Hi everybody, it's the Soap Man. I'm going to do another batch of soap today. I'm going to do what I see on the internet most people refer to as the tiger stripe, sometimes the tiger swirl. Now I've done one before that's called the tilted tiger stripe or swirl, which is where you take your mold and you put a block under it so that it's at a tilt and you pour it and let the soap batter slide down the side each color. I've done that before, it turned out really well. I'm going to do a different version. I've seen several people do it. The one I actually watched really to get the idea from was Kevin Devine, who's a very talented soaper. I hope I do it justice. I've never done this one before, but this is where you do your colors and you pour just a very, very thin stripe down the center. You take your next color, pour a very, very thin stripe right on top of that one so it kind of builds on each other. And I've seen it done in a tall, skinny loaf mold like this one. This is my primary mold. I've also seen it done in a wider mold, which allows the soap batter to spread out more and gives the same procedure gives a different look. So I'm going to do it this week with the tall and skinny one, like this one, just right down the center, like I'd mentioned. That's it. Let's get started. Let's make some noise. I will post the recipe in the description box below. I did try to mimic Brambleberry's swirl mix. It's no secret. It's not a top secret or anything. They go ahead and give the percentages of oil, so I did it to end up with 30 ounces of oil, and this is called the Quick Swirls mix. In other words, it has a lot of slow-moving oil, so it gives me time to work with it before it sets up into trays. So here we go. My lye water's cloudy, like always. It has Tussa Silk mixed into it. It also has 3 teaspoons of sodium lactate because my scale, I guess the battery went dead. I was almost finished. I was very, very close to being finished mixing the oils, adding them up, and all of a sudden it went dead. And I knew I was almost at 30 ounces, so I just went ahead and poured a little bit to make sure I went over. So I'm really over a 6% super fat and a lot of liquid oils. Plus I have 4 color and I'm going to add some more oil. So I put some sodium lactate into this to help set it up a little bit more. Bear with me just a minute, make a little bit of noise, and we'll get started making some soap. Don't forget my gloves. They're sitting right here and I forgot to put them on. Don't want any lye burns. I actually did have them on when I was mixing the lye up. I just took them off and forgot to put them back on. That's all the stick blending I'm going to do. I will mix these, divide these evenly into the containers, add the colors, whisk it in, give it just a very quick blast to make sure everything's mixed in and get a better emulsification, but I want to keep a nice thin trace throughout this. But yet, at the same time, I don't want it too thin because I don't want it just to run across the mold. So, let's get these evenly divided into the 4 containers. I'm going to just eyeball it. Unfortunately, they're all the same type container with the same markings, so it should be pretty easy to get it relatively close. In case you're wondering, I'm not scenting this. I know some people that just seems almost a mortal sin not to scent your soap. I really just prefer it without because of sensitive skin issues. I have been scenting a lot here recently, and even ones that are supposed to behave well, I'm finding have accelerated the trace, and I just don't want to risk that right now. So, I'm not scenting this. Boy, do I have a deformed glove or what? Bear with me just a minute. I've got a really messed up glove here. There we go. Sorry about that. Alright, the 4 colors I'm using are, I'm going to use the green. This is actually a mixture of ultramarine and yellow that I had left over last week. I mixed them together and got a nice green. I'm doing it in this order. Titanium dioxide for the white, nuclear orange, and fizzy lemonade for the yellow. I'm going to just put them in, give them a quick whisk, give them a very quick blast with the stick blender, and start the pour. Lightest to darkest, I don't have to clean in between. Okay, very quick stick blend, lightest to darkest. That's all I'm going to do. Let's start the pour. Don't always have the steadiest hand in the world, so I'm really hoping I'm able to do this and do it justice. I mean, it's going to look nice either way, I think, but I want it to really, really shine the way I see you folks on the internet do it on YouTube. I just love the way it looks. So let's try it. That seems to be the way it looks, the way I see it. Now, unfortunately, I don't have the ability to stop my camera and pause it and come back, so I'm going to be a few minutes doing this, so, you know, if you want to watch, please do, encourage it. But if you want to skip forward, I'm going to be a few minutes doing this, and I'm just simply don't have the ability to do anything else, so sorry about that. We'll do one more sweep. And put the colors on the top. Put the remainder on the top. Okay, we'll do a tap down with the mold. Now I'm just going to smear these colors on the top and swirl it out. Alright, I always use my thermometer to do the swirl top, so here we go. Now this is not really giving the pattern I'm wanting. I think it's just because the colors are mixing too much, so I'm not sure what this soap's going to look like. Guess we'll know tomorrow. Now what I'll do is I'll go ahead and clean this up off camera. I'm going to let this sit up just a little bit, spray it with rubbing alcohol to prevent soda ash, cover it and let it insulate, and I'll see you tomorrow for the cutting. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.